Another year, another Pro Tour Hall of Fame ballot, ladies and gentlemen. It's the 2016 Magic the Gathering Pro Tour Hall of Fame. Signed, sealed, delivered. We got another 2 deserving people to go into the Hall this year. But the list is huge of the people who never made it in. Right? Lots and lots of people try to get into the Pro Tour. Lots do well, few win, even fewer have long, outstanding careers. And so the Hall of Fame, whether you love it or hate it, you think it's great, you think it's stupid, it is a pinnacle of achievement and success. Now, some sports, athletic sports, they all have halls. And Magic, trying to emulate that, has its very own Hall of Fame that's been around for 10 years. But with every person who gets in, there's someone who doesn't. And so this is my top 5 list of people who deserve a shot, who deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Number 5 is going to be the most controversial pick on the entire list. And quite possibly, I say this person's name, half the people are just going to turn this off and think I'm crazy. But the person that I think should be in it is Mike Long. He's my number 5 pick. Now immediately people are going to say, oh, he's a cheater, he's done this, he's done that. He does not deserve to be in the Hall whatsoever. And in the beginning, I was 50-50 with you on that. The very first year, I remember I'm at my friend's place, I'm checking things out, who's going to be in the Hall, right? This is 2005, 2006, I forget the exact year. But I see the list and I think, oh, Mike Long, he's been really good up to that point. He's had a great career, and yes, he had the cheating scandals. And yes, at that time, I could agree, sure, you want to keep the Hall clean. You want to only have the people with spotless records in there. But a couple years later, they inducted someone who had quite possibly the most serious scandal in the history of Magic. And he got elected. And that was Bob Maher Jr. Now, if you don't know what the scandal is, it's quite simple. Him and some others did tournament fraud. It's really that simple. Right? Him and another person, along with a store owner, a tournament organizer, made up fake records for tournaments to boost their ratings so they could get into the Pro Tour. So right away, he's taking spots from people. They're lying about results. And that's a very bad thing. Now, to his credit, he did whistleblow on himself. He did turn himself in. But again, he only did it after that relationship soured, right? This is set in stone. This is what Wizards said themselves. Right? So he was suspended for 6 months. Now, you might think, did he get anything from this tournament fraud? And the answer is yes. He definitely did. He got an invite to Worlds 1999. Now, I believe that was the year that Kai won. He didn't win much. He wasn't in the top 8. But he still took a spot from someone else thanks to all that tournament fraud. And so if, his peers, if the selection committee at the time said, we're going to let this person in, then the door is open. Pandora's box has been opened up. You cannot use the morality card anymore and say no to cheaters. So because of that, Mike Long definitely deserves a place in the Hall. He's won a Pro Tour. Okay? You might think, well, it's only one. Well, Bob Maher Jr. only won 1 Pro Tour. Okay? He's won World's national teams 3 times. I don't think anyone has matched that record. I know Finkel won 2. Right? Gabe Sang almost won 2. It was either him or Finkel was going to win a second. But I don't know many who's even won it twice. Right? I think Finkel's the only one to win it twice. Long has won it 3 times. And you might think, well, that's only the world's teams. Why does that matter? Well, it's a big event. It's an important event. And to win such a momentous event 3 times shows he's got skill. The last reason that Mike Long should be in is because he put butts in the seats and eyes on the game. If you watch any of the coverage where he was playing on the final day, he made it exciting. It was interesting to watch the game, for good or for bad. You look at the road to the 1998 World Championships, which is basically the U.S. Nationals video, and people were excited to watch this guy lose. He was the original bad boy of Magic. Now again, the cheating scandals kind of hurt the reputation for that, but you can't deny that when he lost, people cheered. You can't deny that when he was playing, people were watching to see him lose, right? People were watching. People were interested. The reason why doesn't matter, but people were more focused on that game. You see the final with him against Matt Lindy, 1998 U.S. Nationals, and people were cheering when he lost each game. Even the commentators had to make a point of saying no rioting, no going crazy if Mike Long loses. And so to have that kind of celebrityism definitely deserves a shot, definitely deserves a spot in the Hall of Fame. Number 4 on my list is also going to be another controversial choice, and that's Tomoharu Saito. Now, Tomoharu Saito, like Long, he's been embroiled in some cheating scandals. He's been a naughty boy, right? His biggest suspension was for 18 months. So, and this has been going on for a while. I think 2000, 2001, one of the last APEC championships, he got kicked out, DQ'd for collusion. So he's done some bad things as well. But again, just like Long, the morality debate's out because Bob Maher's in. Simple as that. The difference between Saito and Long is quite simple. Saito still plays. He's still going strong on the Pro Tour. He almost made it in 1 year, but because he got suspended, he got shut out. He wasn't allowed to be in it. That was a penalty for a suspension, and he's never been met the threshold since. But even still, he keeps putting up results. He is in the 500-point club. He's in the 500-point club, which is huge. That's a huge amount of points to have in the Pro Tour. And just to show how important that number is, he's the only person in the 500-point or more club to not be in the Hall of Fame. Everyone else with over 500 points is in the Hall of Fame. And only one person, other than him, with more than 400 points is not in the Hall of Fame. And we'll get more to that person later. So Saito definitely deserves to be in the Hall. And again, so what if he had the cheating scandal? The Bob Maher induction negates that. But Saito is also giving back to the community. He owns his own store in Tokyo in multiple locations, the Hareruya. Yes, I'm pronouncing that right. It's not Hallelujah, it's Hareruya. A little Japanese English there. He's sponsoring GPs. He's trying to be a pillar of the community and grow it even bigger and better in Japan. Now, sadly, I've never had the opportunity to go to his store. I would have loved to because I've worked in Japan, but I've never had the opportunity because I never lived in Tokyo. But he's given back, and he definitely deserves his shot in the Hall. Number 3, we're gonna get out of the scandals, right? We're gonna get out of the scandals. We're gonna go to Martin Juza. Martin Juza from the Czech Republic. He's the only man past 400 points to not be in the Hall of Fame. He's sitting, at the time of this recording, a hefty, very respectable 479 points. Right? Now, let's put that into perspective. 479 points. He is tops in the 400 club, right? Ignore everyone above him. In the 500s, he is the top person with over in the 400 to 500 range. Okay? The next one is Owen Turnenwald at 469. The recently inducted Owen Turnenwald. Congratulations to him. The number of people above him. There are 10 people above him in points, just simply pro points. Again, that's all the 500 plus club, and only Saito is the only person not to be in the hall in that range, right? Rafael Levy's in there, Nakamura, Finkel, Bude, Dama de Rosa, Olivier Ruel, Nassif, Watanabe, Yasuoka, and LSP. They're all in, and they all have more points. And so this is a little the interesting point we're going to get to now. What is the difference between Juza and Turnenwald? Why is Turnenwald in, but Juza not? Juza's just staying around that bubble the past couple of years, around the 20% mark. Right? I think it's 20%. 20% or 30%. Right? Is where he's been, yeah, it's about the 20% mark of points, of votes. And yet, his results are quite similar to Turnenwald. Turnenwald's got 4 PT top 8s. Juza's got 2. Both don't have wins. Juza has 24 GP top 8s. Turnenwald has 21. Both of them have the same number of wins. So Juza has 3 more GP top 8s. Turnenwald has 2 more PT top 8s. Right? They are neck and neck. They are really close. And yet one can overwhelmingly get in. The other is still hovering on that 20% mark. Had a longer career, sure. Juza had a longer career, started 4 years earlier than Turnenwald for his Pro Tour debut. But he's steady. He's steady Eddie. Right? That's a long, respectable career. So he definitely deserves to get in. He should be in. Number 2 on my list is going way out of left field. No one's going to see it coming. Chris Bakula. That's right. Chris Bakula deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Now, you might be saying immediately, well, why? His points are super low. The only one lower than him is Randy Buehler. Right? Randy Buehler has the lowest amount of pro points in the Hall at 126. No fault of his own, because he had a very short career, because he joined Wizards early, and so he's not allowed to participate. So there's no fault of his own. He probably would have been a lot better. He would have had a lot more points if he stayed as a pro player. But why Bakula deserves to be in the Hall is because he was, along with Brian Weissman, was one of the voices of early Magic. So if you were lucky enough to score one of those old Pro Tour tapes or watch any of the coverage on YouTube, you're going to hear 2 familiar voices from the pre-99 era. And that's going to be Brian Weissman as the lead and Chris Bakula as the color guy. Right? And he's a staple for so long, right? And so he definitely deserves to get his shot. Okay? He had respectful Pro Tour career, short, yes. Maybe doesn't have the GP numbers, definitely doesn't have the GP numbers of a lot of other people, right? But he's got 3 top 8s, including 1 at Worlds. Some people would say, well, lots of people have 3 top 8s. Lots of people have more GPs than him. But again, I'm going to what he did for the Pro Tour with his commentary. Because a lot of the Pro Tour coverage is going to be boring without people talking. And you can say anything about his playing skill, but you do have to say he is pretty good on the mic. And he should get his shot. Number 1 on my list, and my complete bone of contention with the Hall of Fame since the very first year. This person should have been in, no question, doesn't get a shot anymore because he doesn't play anymore, hasn't gotten a pro point, and he's been off the list forever. And that is the original pro, the OG pro player before they were even considered pros. And that is Mark Justice. Right? No justice for justice is the hashtag, I would say, for the Pro Tour Hall of Fame. This guy should be in first ballot. Doesn't have to be first place. Doesn't have to be second. He should have been in the very first ballot. And the reason I'll tell you why is because he is the first professional before professionals even became a thing. He was there for the golden generation of Magic. Right? You go look at the Pro Tour New York, Showdown in New York, the very first Pro Tour video. And all the commentary of him, you got people saying, I'm going to lose again. I can't beat Justice. This guy is so good. Everyone knows who he is. And this is before the internet. Right? The internet's not a thing. And you have this huge gap, this huge geographical gap between countries and nations at this time. And yet this dude was the superstar. He was the national champion. He had the world's team title. Right? Tops 8, the very first Pro Tour. Now, sadly, his later career becomes one of botches. Right? He should have more titles to his career. He makes a big mistake in Pro Tour Paris against Mike Long. That costs him. One game cost him the tournament. Should have been a Pro Tour winner there. 1996, probably his most infamous botch where he decks himself. Well, I don't think he decked himself, but he plays double consult, demonic consultation, that loses him the game and loses his world title. So he's the guy who, should have been, sadly. But for that time of Magic, where there's few Grand Prix, where there's little money, where there's not the same structure that there is for the Pro Tour as there is now, he did a great job. Right? He did a great job. Right? So just looking at his stats now, looking at Wikipedia, we're going to look at his stats for Pro Tour top 8s. Right? 4 Pro Tour top 8s. Right? Highest at the time when he was on the ballot, had the highest median finish out of anyone, right? By far. Right? I think it was like 19th with his median finish. So he's like a coin flip if he's going to be, right, top 20 at the tournament. Okay? And so remember, this is 4 Pro Tour top 8s, very short career time. Right? I think he left the game 97, 98. So he's only in for like a couple years. And that's it. So he had a very great short career. He was the original pro. And so he definitely deserves to be in the Magic the Gathering Hall of Fame. So that's my list, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fans and viewers. My top 5 hopefuls that someday should be in the Hall of Fame. Now, what do you think? Disagree? Agree? Have your own top 5? Could just be your favorites, right? Some of my favorites I never put on the list, who I think deserves a shot, like Itaru Ishida. He should definitely be in there. Sadly, he passed away a number of years ago, so he will never have that opportunity again. But let me know. Write your thoughts in the comments. Like, dislike, subscribe. Have a good one, everyone. And keep enjoying flipping those magical cards.